Hi guys, Luke from Trout River Industries. We've done up this seasonal maintenance manual, and with spring just around the corner, it's a good time to be talking about what maintenance should be done to your trailer. Some questions you might ask are, how often should I do this? You should do this yearly. We recommend doing it in the spring because summer is often a busy season and you want to make sure your trailer is good to go for the summer. Secondly, how will this benefit me and my equipment? Doing this maintenance will not only take care of little things before they turn big, but it'll also make your trailer last a long time. The first thing you're going to want to do is pressure wash your complete trailer. You don't want to just do this for cosmetic purposes. You want to get into all the little nooks and crannies to make sure no rust starts. And most importantly, you want to open your inspection door and pressure wash the conveyor with it turned on. This will make sure all the grit and grime gets cleaned off your chain before you oil it. After your trailer's all washed, the next thing you're going to want to do is grease the trailer. This will force any water out of any places where it shouldn't be with grease. The grease points are listed here. We're not going to point everyone out, but we'll list them. There's 4 per regular axle. There's 12 per steer axle. There's 2 tailgate hinges. They're located here at the bottom of the rib. There are up to 7 depending on which tarp system you have, but up to 7 on the tarp system. There's 5 on your landing gear, 1 on your rear shaft bearing. There's 4 on your tailgate latch system, 2 on each side, and 4 on your inspection door hinges, and then 2 front shaft bearings. One thing I want you to note is that the front bearings have a plug installed in them instead of a grease nipple. In order to grease these, just take the plug out, install the proper grease nipple. One thing that many people do that you're not supposed to is they just pump the grease to it until they can see it. That's an issue because with the tires of the truck being right under here, it'll throw all the dirt and stuff from the road up on the bearing and it'll wreck your bearing. So when you're greasing your bearing, don't give it all the grease you got, just give it a couple of shots and you don't need to see grease to be sure it's greased. After your trailer's all greased, the next step in this manual is to inspect your tub and your bogie. So we call the top half of this your tub, and then the bogie is the suspension that all the axles are bolted to. You want to inspect it from top to bottom, get out a ladder, and just comb over this thing from top to bottom. Check for cracks, bends, excessive rust, missing bolts, or any damage of any other sort. And as you can see, we have a checklist of suggested parts to check in this manual. With your trailer all inspected, and since you already have a ladder out, this is a good time to check your tarp and do any maintenance that's required. You want to check your cable tension, you want to make sure it's all aligned on an end-to-end system, and with a rollover system there are other procedures. You can contact us for those or look on livebottom.com at tarp maintenance. The next step you're going to want to do is to check all your power systems. You want to check your hydraulics, you want to check your air system and your electrical system. Again, we have a checklist of suggested places to look, and not every trailer will be the same, so use your own discretion when you're looking and stay safe when you're looking as well. Next up, we want to touch on corrosion resistance. For this step, we're talking about the electrical and hydraulic systems. You want to just go around with a can of fluid film, open all these, spray some oil in there, or you can grease them. Make sure they don't corrode. You can go to all the hydraulic fittings around the trailer, spray something on there just to be sure they don't rust. Just a side note, if you have anywhere on the trailer, any nicks or dings that bare metal is exposed, it wouldn't hurt to spray a little bit of fluid film in these areas as well, as it will cause this area to be protected from the elements and it won't rust as fast. Next step on the agenda is gearbox maintenance. I will not give you all the specs, but I will show you on our gearbox. Your fill plug is right here. Your drain plug is right here. And your vent is up here. Whenever you're changing your gearbox oil, you want to make sure that the vent isn't plugged because that'll blow out seals if it is. Besides changing your gearbox oil, you're also going to want to just check it over and inspect it, make sure your motor guard's in good shape, and make sure there's no oil or cracks or any other damage while changing the oil. The next step is to inspect your conveyor. In the manual, again, there's a checklist. There's a list of things to do from the back of the trailer. There's a list of things from the inspection door to inspect. Then there's a list to inspect from the front of the trailer. When you're at the front of the trailer, you want to turn on your oiler, make sure your oiler is set right. And At this point, you can turn your conveyor on and oil the chain. After your chain is all oiled, it's a good time to check your chain tension. You want to make sure your chain is all oiled up before doing this, so it'll give an accurate reading. All you do is you take a pry bar, stick it under the chain, give it a pry. As you can see, this chain is tensioned properly because you can't see the links moving. It seems to be moving up and down as a complete unit. If it started pivoting real bad right here and right here, you'd know that your chain was not tensioned properly, and you'd have to go to the front adjusters and tighten the chain up. The final step in this manual, step number 10, is to inspect and maintain your wheels. So you want to check your rims, make sure they're in good shape, make sure there's no cracks or bends. You want to check your tires, make sure your tires are in good shape and that the tire pressure is up to par. The axle manufacturer suggests that the bearing end play be checked yearly, so you could do this if you wanted. Also, you can check your hub lubrication, whether it's oil or grease, make sure it's well lubricated so the bearings don't go. And if you want any additional info or specifications, you can contact the axle manufacturer from your trailer. Lastly, we're just going to touch on some additional maintenance that is not required per se, but it does make your trailer last a little bit longer. First thing we're going to mention is if your seals are getting a little bit older, it might be a good time to change them now so they don't go out on you halfway through the summer. Another thing we'd suggest doing is undercoating your trailer. Although this isn't required, it's a really good and effective way to prevent rust and corrosion on your trailer, and it'll keep your trailer looking new for a lot longer. Lastly, something people don't think about a lot, hydraulic filters, because they're not on the trailer itself, but if this trailer is on a specific truck all the time, it might be a good idea to change the hydraulic filters on the truck. Lastly, as you can see in this manual, we have a table with a couple of part numbers that might be handy to you. If you need any parts, contact our parts manager, Dwayne. Thanks for watching. I'm Luke from Trout Industries, and I'd like to wish you a productive summer.